So if we haven't met, my name's Laura. Get yourself in some kind of comfortable resting position, whether that's lying on your back, lying on your front side, back, but with legs up the wall or on something. And let's bring our attention from the external to the internal. We'll start with the external. So with soft eyes, eyes open, you can just scan the space that you're in. Noticing different colors, different shapes. So just a really soft focus. So if I'm just gently, almost like my vision is blurred, noticing where there's yellows and blues, where there's light sources, whether that's from windows or lamps or computer screen or phone. You can get a sense of the smell in the room or of your clothing, your body. Notice the different sounds. Outside, inside. Again, in your body, maybe you hear a little bit of breath. Maybe joints are cracking a little bit, or you hear yourself shifting around. Draw your attention to the areas where you're touching something, clothing, floor, carpet, mat, skin. And fifth sense, what is the taste that you're experiencing right now? Maybe it's different on the tip of your tongue than it is in the back of your throat or the middle of the tongue, the top of your mouth. And bringing the attention inward, further still. Observe your breath as it passes through. Is there a point as you begin where you notice the breath the most? So for me right now, it's in my nostrils. The breath is just a little bit cool. So I'm noticing that coolness coming in my nostrils. Some of the breaths I'm noticing kind of in my upper back, which feels a little tight. Like the breath could expand more, but I'm kind of constricted there. So notice where it is for you that you know that you are observing the breath. And if you can, visualize your lungs as balloons. And your job is to fill those balloons. See how much air can come in, how much expansion there can be. Before you exhale, to bring all that air out and fill it with brand new air. So shifting your focus from wherever you notice the breath. So for me, it was the nostrils. Now I'm putting the focus on my full lungs. So my torso, I'm getting to expand. Lungs filling front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Then letting all the air come out of the balloon. Ready to refill. Almost like, you know, you've got a little kid that you do things exactly the way you've asked them to, and they go, no, not that way. Do it differently. So you empty it all out. Okay, how should we fill it this time? Inhale, brand new. Then exhale. Oh, that wasn't quite right. No, no, no. Let all that air out. No, let's try it this way. So each breath is a new start. Very good. Find a breath pattern that feels comfortable and sustainable for you. Maybe you want to try something really, really slow and steady. Maybe your breath is not so slow, not quick so much as, you're keeping a pace. If you're looking for a little bit more energy, if the cloudy day has got you feeling really lethargic, you can keep a pace to your breath. It doesn't need to be super slow. Okay, whether you're on your back or belly down, I invite you to take a long body stretch. So if you're belly down, reach forward, reach your heels back, maybe wiggle side to side. If you're on your back, same thing, you can wave your arms, keeping them on the floor, but letting them slide left and right. Same for legs as well. I'm going to have us do one belly down pose. If you prefer not to be on your belly, you can do this pose with towels or pillows under the pelvis and under the chest. It's Sphynx or seal pose. Or you can come up to seated. And if you're up by a wall, you can put your arms on a wall, or you can just stay seated and you'll get a spinal extension this way, just by drawing your shoulders back. That's an option too. But if you're comfortable being belly down, let's meet on our bellies here. And you can start with elbows under shoulders, fingertips spread wide, tops of feet on the mat. My legs are about hip width distance apart rather than wide. They're just kind of hip width distance. This is Sphynx Pose. Options here, you can put supports under the armpits or under the chest. You could also put some support under the pelvis. If that feels more comfortable on the low back or gives you a little more sensation in the low back that you like, that can be nice. Another option is to crawl the elbows out a little further. That's going to reduce the extension in the low back. And then finally, if you'd like a little bit more sensation, you can take seal pose. So seal pose, I'm going to stretch my arms out in front of me, tense the fingers. So it's my fingertips down rather than the full hand. It's not bad to put your full hand down, but the fingertips will give you a little bit of lightness and a little bit more of a boost. I'm pressing my pelvis into the floor. My arms are straight. Legs stay about hip width distance. And if you want a little variation still, you can bend one knee or both knees and see how that feels. Again, you're welcome to bring pillows or blankets somewhere under the pelvis or torso. Using things to help you into position rather than effort from your own body. Just noticing if shoulders have come into the ears, keeping them sliding back and down. Long neck, long breath. Now for any of these postures, I know I'm holding this one a little bit longer. You're welcome to come out, go back in, or do something else completely different that feels better in your body. Okay, if you're with me in Sphinx or Seal, we'll start to come out, lowering back down onto the belly. Option, stack forearms, forehead rests. Or arms can be down at your sides, head turns to either side. You can always put a pillow or blanket or towel under you. If you're seated, you can move to tabletop. We'll meet you there in a minute. Okay, if you're belly down, draw your belly button towards your spine. Just a little bit of engagement to protect the low back. Then go ahead and press yourself up to tabletop, hands and knees. As you arrive, hands and knees, do anything that feels good here, moving the body. It might be toes, ankles, hips, spine, shoulders, elbows, wrists, or neck. You freestyle for a minute here and see what feels good to you. Okay, if you're feeling like you're taking it easy tonight, slow and steady and deliberate, not a lot of extra activity, then I invite you to move through cat and cow. Drop the belly, lift the gaze. Fill the lungs all the way up, then empty them all out. Drop the head, drop the tailbone. Just slow and deliberate, maybe closing your eyes. If you want to add in just a little bit more, still a slow flow, but a little bit more activity, I invite you to join me in a kneeling sun salutation. So from tabletop, walk your hands back to the knees. Come up to stand on the knees. Arms reach overhead, inhale. Exhale, hands come back down. Walk the hands out, tabletop. Then we'll do a cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to knees, and we'll do it again. So inhales, we find more space. Come on up. If you want to press pelvis forward, even add a little back bend, you're welcome to do that. Exhales, coming down. Inhale, lengthen the spine, tabletop. And drop the belly, using the bottom of that inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, rounding the spine, spreading the shoulder blades wide. Inhale back to center, neutral spine. And exhale, hands to knees. We'll do that 2 more times, your pace. And when you inhale to rise, if you want to add anything else in here, maybe a twist, maybe a back bend, maybe stretch side to side, you're welcome to do that. Exhales bring us down. You might add an extra cat and cow. Maybe you take a couple rounds here, inhaling and exhaling. So do as much or as little as you want. Trust yourself to choose movements that are interesting to you. We'll let you experience something here. And I should have said this sooner. Anytime we're on our knees, I've got hard floors, so sometimes I put an extra towel or pillow under my knees. You're always welcome to do that. And even if you're on carpet, even if your knees feel just fine, it just might feel nice. Okay, whatever movements you're in, use a few more breaths to come back to tabletop pose. We'll all meet in tabletop. And we'll do a toe stretch and an ankle stretch. You stay in these as long as you'd like. So if you want to get out before I do, you are absolutely welcome to. We'll start with our toe stretch. So curl your toes here and start to walk your hands back to your knees. That might be plenty. Just curling the toes might give you a big stretch here. If you could use a little more sensation, walk the hands back further, and you might even come up to sitting on your knees. Same thing here. If you want just more softness under your knees, you can certainly put something there. So my feet are about hip-width distance apart. The first few breaths that I'm here, I usually think, oh, this is nothing. The next several breaths, I feel very tuned into how this feels. So all I ask is that you keep breathing. But there's no obligation to stay longer than you want. You can shift your weight forward and back several times. If you want to release, tap your toes, then come back in, you can. I heard recently that with people working from home more or being at home more without shoes on as much, podiatry visits are up. And I have experienced some of that too, so just making time to stretch out our feet, which have been getting different support probably in the past year. Again, keep breathing. And when you're ready to come out and be totally done with that toe stretch, meet in tabletop, tops of feet on the floor, and you can tap those feet on the ground. So tops of the feet tapping on the ground. And again, if you want to go back and forth, if that feels good, whatever feels good to shake out your feet. Then we'll do the counter stretch, the ankle stretch. So from tabletop, ankles on the mat. This might be plenty. Walk your hands back. Maybe that's a lot on the ankles. Same thing, you can come up, hands on knees. So now we're stretching the front of the feet. It might feel nice to have some support under the knees, under the ankles. And if you want more, if your ankles feel pretty good, not a lot of sensation, you can get your knees lifted higher. So rolled up towel is one way. So higher knees, even more stretch at the front of the ankles, top of the feet. So much of our wiring is to protect us from harm. So as you get into these stretches with a lot of sensation, you might notice the brain say like, wait, that's bad. And it might be, if you've got pinching, sharp pain, get out, get out. But if you've got discomfort or just something new, maybe take a couple breaths and see if that first reaction is really the most useful one. Just a few more breaths. And again, you might be shifting forward and back. You might have been done with this several breaths ago. When you're ready, tabletop. Now you might want to curl the toes and tap them on the ground. And let that go. We'll do one more thing from our knees. And that's gate pose. So I'm going to turn to face you. From tabletop, let's start by stepping our right leg out to the side. Your choice if the big toe side, the inside side of the foot is touching down, or if you stay heel up. You can then walk your hands up. Hands can be on hips in a prayer position in front of the heart. Or if it feels okay, you might want to do a side body stretch here. So my knee does not feel great on the wood floor that I'm on. I'm going to add a blanket for me. You could also play around with twisting, stretching, folding, and make this gate pose your own. We'll just take a few more breaths here. Okay, let's come back to tabletop. Step the right knee in. And we'll take that on the other side. Left foot steps out. Inner side of the foot could be on the ground. Or heel could be on the ground, toes towards the ceiling. It's your choice. And places for your hands could be on your hips, at your heart, maybe reaching up, maybe reaching over, or you could be a little bit playful here. Just kind of noticing, all right, what's my balance like? One leg out. A few more breaths. And then let's come back down to tabletop, step the left knee in, shake out anything, hips, ankles, feet, head and neck, whatever it is, and let's find child's pose. So big toes towards each other, knees open as wide as you'd like. If you've got pillows and blankets that you want to put under your torso to bring the floor closer to you, it just might feel nice and comfortable. If you want to extend your spine as long as you can, long arms, you can get yourself good and stretched out here too. No version of child's pose is better or worse. It's just the amount of activity and sensation you want to experience. So if you want it to be super cozy, relaxing, you might not stretch out as far. You might have more props under you. But for you, you might really want the stretch today. Just breathing in child's pose. And lungs like balloons. See if there are any parts of your body that you could soften here. Release a little bit of effort. Unclench a muscle that's not needed to hold you into place. Maybe let yourself feel heavier on the floor. And also visualize your low back, nice and expansive, broad and supportive. For even more low back expansion, you might draw your belly button in ever so slightly. Not a lot of effort, just a little bit of engagement. When we contract something in the front, something in the back expands and vice versa. Let thoughts pass as they come through. Just acknowledge that they're there. The mind will probably continue to chat, wander, maybe even worry. It's okay, that's the mind trying to do its best. You'll just use your presence here to say, I got it. Thank you. Maybe bring the thoughts back to something in your own body. We'll take a few more breaths here in child's pose. Okay, from child's pose, shift forward to tabletop. And then if you've got space for it, I invite you to take a few breaths in downward facing dog. This could look a few different ways. You could go right to hands down, curl the toes, send the hips high, inverted V shape, kind of a traditional downward dog. You could also take the legs out wide, really wide. I'm wider than my mat here. And keep pushing the hips back. So it's almost more like a standing forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. You might walk your hands in a little bit. If you've got something near you, chair, piece of furniture, something like that, you could also put hands there for your downward facing dog. So I like my feet out wide for a nice wide base. My hands here on my lounge chair. Give me a chance to just let my chest drop. Low back feels nice and wide and expansive. You might like it feet closer together. That's great too. A couple more breaths to explore whatever version of downward facing dog you're in. And then let's bring the feet closer together if they're out wide. Knees come down. Hips come down. Let's have a seat. We'll do a seated forward fold. And you get to decide what kind you'd like. We will take deer pose here after this. For your seated forward fold, you might like legs out long, legs in a straddle, butterfly, or even fire log. So that's more of a hip opener, stacking shins, so my ankles over my knees. Any of those will work just fine. Do whatever seems like it serves you today. And then you can decide, do you want to take this? How do you want to handle your spine in this forward fold? So traditional restorative is let the spine round and flex. Let it be very relaxing. You might prop yourself up on pillows here. That feels really nice for me today, and I might just keep that. Often I think I do a lot of rounding shoulders at my desk, on my phone when I'm sitting. So I often like to keep my spine pretty long and neutral and fold forward rather than around the spine. So I'm going to try for me, straddle. I'm going to use my piece of furniture and fold forward with that. As you keep tuning into your body, just noticing different things, you might make adjustments. So I'm noticing I'm in a straddle position. The back of my leg is really stretching. The front of my leg feels kind of tight. I'm going to put a towel under my knee so that my knee's a little bit more bent. And it's just a little bit less effort and stretch. Just for me, I'm not looking as much for a leg stretch as I am the chance to fold forward, relax my upper body. So I invite you to make those choices for yourself. Again, I'll tell you if there's something specifically better or has a particular anatomical value for you to protect the body. But so much of this is just a matter of choice. Take a few more breaths, continuing to turn inward. Noticing what's happening inside the body, in the breath, in the mind. Use an inhale to lift yourself out of the fold. And then shake anything out. It might even feel nice to roll onto your back for a moment. Roll up and down, roll side to side. Or shake out legs. Let's meet back seated. So comfortable seat. Roll the shoulders back and down out of the ears. We'll do just a little bit with the neck here. As you take a breath in, you can interlace hands behind the head, using the palms for just gentle pressure. You're not trying to push your head down, just a little bit of extra pressure. I'm just pressing lightly. Let your chin drop to your chest. And hands on the back of the head can add just a little bit more stretch. Elbows can come in. For me, that is too much. That's too much pressure. So I keep my elbows out, but if it feels good for you, elbows can come in. Another option once you're here is you could release the hands and do a little neck massage. Using the pads of the fingers to trace up the middle and sides of the neck. Also squeeze. Okay, gently release the hands. Bring the head back to center. Let's let right ear come to right shoulder. Right hand, if you'd like, can reach up and over, gentle pressure. I've got the heel of my right hand just above my left ear. For more stretch on the left side, you can extend your left arm down to your side. And if you want to play just a little bit, you can move where your hand is, tip your head forward slightly. It'll change where the stretch is, not just on the side, but a little bit towards the back of the neck. You bring your chin a little further forward. So you can just find the spot that feels good for you. We'll switch sides, releasing that palm. Gently head back through center. Heel of the left hand can go above the right ear. Right fingertips could reach towards the ground, straight right arm, just for a little extra stretch. Generally, when I get into these positions, the massage just comes naturally. If it feels nice to bring fingers through your hair or use the pads of your fingers to give gentle pressure on the skull, absolutely feel free. Let's release this side for now. Release the hand, head comes back up. Go ahead and take a few organic movements of the neck. Just to release. Circle the wrists a few times. Flipping the palms forward and then turning the fingers down. Go side to side as well. And then let's set up our, and I've got the whole finger wiggle going here too. Sure. Let's get some movement in. Okay, let's set up deer pose. So we start with the right shin parallel. I like to do this facing the long side of a mat. So right shin starts, and then we can swing the left leg back to create a pinwheel shape with the legs. Pillows and blankets can come under the left knee. If it's feeling pretty tight, hard to hold there, there's also no obligation that you keep that left leg back. It can stay out straight. Deer pose can show up a lot of different ways. Traditionally, I should have had you bring your pillows over. If you've got pillows or something you want to lay on your right side, we'll take a long body stretch here, right arm down. Left arm could stay at your side, reach overhead, your choice. And this is just one option, laying out on the right side with the legs in this pinwheel shape, opening the right hip, internally rotating the left. You also could push up and turn this into a forward fold over to your right. Could be a forward fold straight ahead. My favorite is letting my right arm stretch out in front of me, bringing the left shoulder back and making it a spinal twist on my back with the legs in a pinwheel shape. For whatever reason, it's what I like the most. It's not because it's better, it just feels nice for me. We'll just spend a few minutes here turning inward. Letting ourselves be still. Take a few more breaths and deer pose on this side. Full breaths, long breaths. If you're feeling relaxed, comfortable, just take that heaviness with you. As you push up, let's come back to center, but keep yourself heavy. You can swing that left leg around, shake the legs out just a little bit. Move however you need to reset. So that got into my left side a little bit. I'm going to twist just a little bit. We'll set up deer pose on the opposite side. So if you know you like pillows, blankets, some stuff, you can get it over there to your left side. Now, before you set up the legs, because my right knee is lifted, I'm going to put a block. You could use a book, pillows. Put that under it just for a little more steadiness. And then I'm going to long body stretch. Of course, you could do this forward folding. You could do this rotating your right shoulder open, finding a spinal twist. I'm going to stay on my side. You do not have to do the same thing on both sides. We do not have perfect symmetry in our lives, in our movements throughout the day, in our bodies, so we don't have to find it here. Let yourself be heavy and breathe. Take a few more breaths, letting yourself sink. Maybe surrender something. Release some effort, unclench something. Relax in somewhere. Know that however this posture ended up for you was just right to give you something that you needed. So for whatever reason, I ended up with my right arm overhead, tucked under a piece of furniture, head on a pillow. I share this just to encourage something new could come every time. There's no perfect shape or even right shape to end up in. Start to release, press back up to seated, our final seat. You can shake out legs, twist torso, move anything in the upper body before we make our way to our backs for a spinal twist. For your final Shavasana, if you have a way to get legs up the wall or legs up on a piece of furniture for some extra low back support, you just might want to position yourself in that way when you lie on your back. It's just an option. So I'm going to turn myself this way for our spinal twist because I'm going to use my furniture here for my Shavasana. As you arrive on your back, you could hug knees to chest and rock side to side just briefly for a little massage. Your choice if you keep knees together and let them both drop over to one side, or if you hold one knee in, let the opposite leg go long, take that knee across. So single leg twist or double leg twist. Keep expanding the lungs, taking these deep breaths. Especially the exhales. Not only can they help us make room for a deeper twist, but long and full exhales tell our nervous system it's time to rest and digest. Okay, bring the legs back to center. Set yourself up to twist the opposite direction. Just because you did one leg on one side doesn't mean you have to keep it that way on the opposite side. So this way I'm going to drop both my knees. Okay, release the twist, come back to center. Take any final movements, knees to chest, Maybe happy baby, knees out a little bit wider. You could bend and lengthen the legs. This is also really nice on the low back to create lots of surface area, gentle pressure. And think about how you want to spend your final resting posture. You could be flat on your back. If you're looking for more low back support, consider keeping feet on the floor. You could also put the legs up the wall. For me, I'm going to go ahead and sit close to my piece of furniture, bend my knees, and drape them over the seat. You settle in where you feel best and where you're able to let go for a few minutes here. And I'll let you know when it's time to move. The time is now 6 o'clock. Stay in your Shavasana if you'd like. Stay in your resting place. I'll end our call in just a couple minutes. You don't have to get up at all. If you're ready to move, do it gently. Gently expanding your breath. Moving the muscles and joints of your body. And deciding how you want to begin new for this evening, this upcoming week. Even if it's just for the next few minutes. If you'd like, I invite you to take a closing breath with me, emptying out all the air wherever you are. Taking a big breath to fill up, expansive, top to bottom, side to side, front to back. An open mouth exhale. reminding the body it's still time to rest. Thanks so much for spending the last hour with me and spending the last hour with yourself. Taking our space here together helps us make more space in our lives for others, also for ourselves. So thanks for being here. I'll see you back next Sunday on Zoom if you want to join me. Have a gentle night and a nice week.